Hey there, this is me, Malorian, and we are now on to Game 3 of Blood and Gears. Again, if you want to know about my list and what this is all about, I have an intro video that'll be linked down below in the description. But to be fair, so far, I've actually had a pretty easy go of it. In my first game, my opponent unfortunately clocked out pretty quickly, and so that made it a pretty straightforward victory for myself. In the second game, didn't really contest the scenario very strongly. I had a pretty straightforward scenario win. This game will not be very straightforward, and that's because I am now up against Chris Dancox. You probably know him from several podcasts talking about his trolls, but today he is running Grimkin, and he is actually running King of Nothing. Now, I have quite a bit of experience up against Grimkin, not so much up against King of Nothing. I know he's going to make clouds and blah blah blah. That really doesn't really do anything in this matchup so much. The big thing here is that he just has more spells that can be like blasting my guys, so that is going to help kind of turn this tide. But overall, I think I should be okay here, trying to push more for a scenario win. One of the things I really love about the way that this worked out is that building. So I'm in a spot where I can go and contest in the center by like hiding behind my building. He can do the same, but that's okay, because what I want to do is kind of like contest the center, score on the right, and then on the left side, kill the objective, and then just stall and slowly feed things. So that's really the plan, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, super crappy picture, so I'm going to do this really quick. Escort on Magnus, Bullet Dodger on Buccaneer, everything runs up, done. Alright, back to a good picture. So this is now Chris's turn one of his Grimkin, and he plays this very well. For those who are wondering how to face against Magnus, this is what you do. Normally what you'd see against these beast bricks is that they'd be all bunched together and all trying to like force their way through. Well, the reason why you don't do that here is because if you do, Magnus2 can feed on your whole army and lock it down. From what he's done here, I can only catch certain pieces and not very effectively. Meanwhile, what he's also done is on either flank, he has a Gorehound and a Gremlin Swarm, making it very easy to contest those zones. So he's really setting himself up to reduce the effect of my feat and really be able to reduce my ability to get up on scenario, which is something I really need to do, because an army like this is going to get really grindy, really attrition-y, and if I don't get up on scenario, can be a real big problem very quickly. So what I decided to do though is I hold on to my feet. So basically Magnus just kind of like runs through the water and gets to the other side while everything is just trying to like get into his face. I do try and get some things like all around in the zone on the right. I know with a Gremlin Swarm you can just run in, but it makes things a little bit more difficult. On the left side, just trying to get all over in the zone there. Probably one mistake I made is having those eliminators so far up. They are in a dangerous position where he could kill them fairly easily. They should have probably been held more in reserve, but what can you do? I'm basically just setting myself up here, as you can see, to be very strong on the right side of the board here. And meanwhile, when he now wants to come in and try and kill off these troops, he's now going to be having to more congest his army, which will make me have a more effective feat next turn. So that's what he does. Of course, he has a little bit more stuff he can do without just doing that. By the way this works is that normally Alexia would be gathering lots of corpses, but whenever these beasts try and kill me, they just take the corpse from me and I don't get anything. Luckily, kind of, what King of Nothing is doing a bunch of spells and killing more dudes, and I do get the corpses from those. So that's where I'm going to get like the odd corpse in this game. So he does a lot of that on the left, kills off some models, not really enough to really clear or anything like that, kills some dudes in the middle, and on the right side gets the Gorehound into the zone and holds that Gremlin Swarm back behind the forest. And that's going to be a very hard piece for me to normally take. Although luckily I've already kind of planned for that, and I have Orin over there. And what I can do is actually just shoot one of my own models with chain lightning. Normally the electro leaps are like, you'd have to roll high, but his is actually worded that you can boost those leaps, and those then have a very solid chance of killing gremlin swarms. So I'm hopefully going to be in a spot here where I can kill all these kind of models over here that are easy contesters, and then start going after his first heavy and really put him kind of on the back foot. So that's what I do. I'm going in there and I'm feeding and I'm catching all these heavies here on the right side. I kill off the Gorehound. It takes a lot. The way that he put it in there, the order of activations was kind of awkward for me, but it was all right. It all worked down. I was also able to go and zap one of my own guys and kill his gremlin swarm like I talked about. A heavy of mine was able to get in and kill one of his cage ragers. So that's awesome. In this battle of like 6 heavies versus 2, I've taken 1 out, so that's starting to get there. But more importantly, I also go and destroy his objective on the left while Anastasia comes in to contest. And so basically now that's awesome. I'm up 2-0, and now I just need to slow things down and contest while I try and score over and over again on the right. So on his turn, he does his best to kill everything on the left. Again, he has King of Nothing throwing his spells out whenever he can. And so that's why you see a lot of my infantry dying fairly quickly, even though his heavies can't get too deep into me. But I do contest the left zone, I do contest the center, and on the right side, my feet only go so far, so it's pretty easy for a Krabbit just to move up and hop into my zone. So I don't score anything on this turn, but that's okay. It's going to be very easy now for me to kill a Krabbit and kind of keep on pushing this advantage. So that's what I do. I kill the Krabbit. I also kill the Skin and Bones on the right. So now it's 4 heavies versus 2. So that's something. And otherwise, I'm just trying to get into his face and get things in the way. I really would like to have killed the other Krabbit that he had there at the top of the building. But now because I failed, this is going to hop in the zone and contest. What are you going to do? But again, I just want to throw as many things into zones, and hopefully maybe he won't be able to score his left zone this turn. He probably will, but maybe he'll get unlucky. Unfortunately, he wasn't unlucky. It was pretty easy for him to come over here and kill him with, he has 3 beasts over there and he has his spells. But then again, all these beasts that are here on the left, that's fantastic, because the more that they're over here, the less that they're on the right. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward for his Krabbit to hop in while his other heavies kind of stand there and kind of grind away. And I'm liking this. It's at the point now where he's counter scoring, and it's, like 3-1 right now. But that's okay. Orin's in a great spot where I can go and zap and kill his last gremlin swarm. Rupert can be contesting the zone. I can clear mine, and that's what I need. Just keep on grinding, keep on grinding. So exactly what I say, that's what I do. I love that. Orin, I can't stress enough what a great piece he is for killing off gremlin swarms. And also, man, look where that Buccaneer is. That is freaking perfect. There's a Buccaneer with Bullet Dodger snuggled right up to that building, and he is going to contest that zone there until my opponent really dedicates an entire heavy boosting attacks to try and get me out of there. And if I ever want and he ever misses an attack, I'm kind of like bullet dodging away, and I can always come back right in next turn. So super annoying, and I love it. But as you see here, I can test his zone. I'm scoring again. I think it's 4-1 right now, and that's great news. He is going to start getting more aggressive though now. He clears out his zone, so he's going to be counter-scoring there. He's not going to be getting anything into my zone, but you see the wall of heavies. They're moving in and they're ready to do stuff. I'm glad I had that Buccaneer there because he came kind of close to actually scoring this middle zone. So he's going to be counter-scoring, but that's really okay. Really what I plan to do is use one of my corpses that I have to turn into a thrall and run it in, and otherwise just kind of like stay defensive and stay ahead. Unfortunately, he stops it in a way that turns out actually isn't possible. So here's what happened. I made a Risen move over. I went to go and craft into a thrall, and because it was within 3 inches of a cage rager, he uses a corpse to cancel the spell. However, since I don't pick the model, I'm choosing the model. It turns out he couldn't actually do that. We figured it out after. It was no big deal. But because of that, that meant I was not able to get that thrall into his zone to contest. So even though I'm loving my position, I'm jamming things up, I'm still getting further ahead on scenario, he also got one more point as well, and I'm not really overly happy about that. And then he really follows that up by killing a bajillion dudes. Again, with King of Nothing throwing in those spells, and these heavies just making attacks, almost all my heavies are gone. So this is really bad news. He also has a Gorehound in my zone there, so he's contesting me. So it's now at a point there where he's actually scoring and I'm not. And it's also at a point here where I'm kind of being forced to dedicate my heavies while his double my heavies are kind of moving in here. So really what I need to do is just do this wisely, get whatever points I can, and then just hope it's enough as we get closer to turn 7. So that's what I do. I actually almost screwed this up because I kind of almost forgot that. See, I really want to kill that Skin and Moans on the bottom, and then I kind of realized, like, oh geez, I have to really kill that Gorehound. So I do kill it while Magnus hides at the very far back there. But yeah, I do make my Thrall. The Thrall runs into a zone and contests. And the big thing is that as we're going into turn 7 now, there's just nothing he can really do. There's like a long bomb magical assassination he can try, but I'm camping too, so it just really isn't there. So I don't believe there's another picture, and as we get into this, it just means that as we finish the game on turn 7, that I'm going to be able to pull off the win. And this was a stressful game. I mean, it's one of those things there where, you know, Chris knew how to handle my feet, and luckily I was just able to leverage the terrain and kill off key pieces to really give me the lead and follow it through. I mean, like, if you look at this attrition wise, I mean, even though the assassination failed, he was able to kill off one of my heavies. I mean, attrition wise, I'm going down and I'm in really big trouble. I really had to get a head-on scenario and pull off this turn 7 win. So luckily this works. That means I'm 3-0 for the tournament. That's fantastic. The way the numbers works, this means that I'll be one of the 4 undefeated to move on to day 2. So that's amazing. That means like one of those trophies is really close into my grasp. And otherwise, I'm just loving life. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any comments on this battle, I love hearing about those. So please post them down below. And otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.